8 brands on this list still build clothes like the customer is going to come back in 10 years, not 10 days. Most men never find them because the loudest brands spend the money on advertising instead of stitching, leather, wool, and repair benches. Starting at number 8. Number 8 is Carhartt, and the reason Carhartt still belongs here is not because every item with the logo is magic. It is because the core workwear line still understands a simple idea most fashion brands forgot. Clothes are supposed to take abuse. Start with the Detroit jacket. Carhartt describes the current iconic J01 as cotton duck, blanket lined through the body, quilted nylon through the sleeves, with a drop tail hem that leaves room for a tool belt. That is not delicate language, that is a garment designed around movement, abrasion, and weather, not around a photo shoot. Cotton duck matters because it is a plain, dense canvas. It breaks in instead of collapsing. It fades instead of peeling. When a cheap fashion jacket tries to look rugged, it usually does it with enzyme washes, thin canvas, and hardware that looks old before it has done any work. Carhartt built its reputation by doing the opposite. The fabric comes first. The lining has a job. The pockets are placed for hands and tools, not for symmetry on a product thumbnail. This is the first rule. A brand you can trust usually sounds boring when it describes the product. Boring is where the value hides. Carhartt's warranty language is not a lifetime free-for-all, and that is actually more honest than the marketing you see elsewhere. The company says that if a product fails to meet expectations, it will work to make it right through replacement, credit, or another suitable solution, while normal wear, misuse, neglect, and obvious abuse are not covered. That is plain. It tells you the line. It also points customers toward repair options instead of pretending a jacket should be disposable once a cuff opens or a zipper gets tired. The cost per wear is where Carhartt earns its place. A fashion canvas jacket at $100 that looks tired after 2 seasons costs $50 a year. A Detroit jacket that gets 5 hard years before a repair costs less per year. And it looks better after the first scratch because the material was never pretending to be precious. The value is not softness on day one. The value is not needing another one. The buying rule is narrow. Stay with the mainline work pieces, duck jackets, work pants, chore coats, and the items that still look like they came from a job site before they came from a styling rack. Be careful with logo-heavy seasonal pieces, fashion collaborations, and anything that seems designed mainly for the mall. Carhartt is strongest when the garment has a reason to exist without the badge. Do not buy Carhartt for the logo. Buy the pieces that still remember why the logo earned its reputation. Number 7 is L.L.Bean. This is the brand every menswear expert wants to call basic, which is another way of saying it makes things normal men can actually wear. The item that explains L.L.Bean is the Bean boot. Rubber bottom, leather upper, replaceable use case. It is not trying to be a luxury boot. It is trying to keep water off your foot. L.L.Bean's current guarantee is not the old unlimited return policy that people abused until the math stopped working. The current policy is cleaner. If you are not satisfied with a product purchased directly from L.L.Bean, you can return it within 1 year for a refund, and after 1 year, the company will consider items that are defective because of materials or craftsmanship. That change matters. It proves the company is not selling a fantasy. It is standing behind defects while refusing to subsidize people who treat a return desk like a rental counter. The construction difference is obvious in the products that made the company. The Bean boot is built around function before shape. The tote bags use heavy canvas instead of limp fashion cotton. The chamois shirts and flannels are cut like actual layers, not shrink-wrapped costume pieces. Nothing in the line feels like it was designed to die quickly so you come back next quarter. A trusted brand does not need to make every product exciting. It needs to make the boring products correctly. The arithmetic is simple. A $25 fashion tote that loses shape in a year is not cheaper than an L.L.Bean canvas tote that gets stained, washed, beaten up, and still carries groceries, tools, and clothes a decade later. A $70 flannel that holds its shape through years of washing beats 2 $35 shirts that twist at the seams. The cheaper product is the one you stop replacing. The warning is the same as with every heritage company. Do not treat the whole catalog as one object. L.L.Bean sells modern fleece, slippers, shirts, bags, boots, and seasonal clothing at different quality levels. Frank is not telling you to buy everything with a main label on it. He is telling you to look for the pieces where the material and the use case are visible before the brand story starts talking. Number 6 is darn tough. Socks sound too small for a list like this until you add up how many bad pairs men throw away. Thin cotton socks fail at the heel. Dress socks blow out at the toe. Athletic socks stretch until they slide into the shoe. Darn Tough built an entire company around making that cycle look stupid. The important evidence is the guarantee. Darn Tough says its socks are unconditionally guaranteed for life. If they are not the most comfortable, durable, and best-fitting socks you own, you can return them for another pair. No receipt is required in the US program. The company also says that if you wear a hole in them, they will replace them free of charge, and as long as they can tell the socks were once Darn Tough socks, the warranty can apply. That warranty is financially dangerous if the socks are bad. That is why it matters. The construction backs it up. Darn Tough uses merino wool blends with nylon and stretch fibers instead of cheap cotton that holds moisture and loses shape. The knit is dense. The toe seam is built to disappear under pressure instead of rubbing a groove across your foot. The company makes the socks in Vermont, which means it is not just slapping a mountain logo on a commodity sock from the same plant as 5 private labels. A normal pack of cheap socks can cost $15 and last a year before half the pairs are dead. A pair of Darn Tough socks can cost around $25, which sounds absurd until one replacement cycle becomes 3, then 5, then 10. If the sock wears through, the warranty turns the math upside down. You are not buying a sock, you are buying out of the sock replacement business. There is another reason socks belong here. They touch the body harder than almost anything else you wear. They live inside sweat, friction, heat, cold, and repeated washing. If a brand can make that product last, it is doing more real engineering than half the companies charging designer prices for thin shirts with louder tag. Number 5 is Barbour. The trusted product here is not every quilted jacket, every collaboration, or every piece of branded merchandise. The trusted product is the waxed cotton jacket, because waxed cotton has one advantage modern fashion hates: it can be renewed. Barbour's own repair and rewax service says customers can take a jacket to be rewaxed, repaired, or altered, and the brand recommends annual rewaxing depending on wear. That one service changes the entire economics of the jacket. A normal coated rain jacket has a membrane or finish that slowly gives up. Once it delaminates, bubbles, cracks, or wets out permanently, the jacket becomes expensive trash. A waxed Barbour loses protection the honest way. The wax wears off, you put it back, the shell gets scuffed, you patch it, the collar gets tired, you replace it. That is what repairable means. Not indestructible, repairable. Barbour says its Wax for Life program brings together rewaxing, repair, and reloved services, and it traces the rewaxing and repair service back to 1921. The company also says it rewaxes or repairs over 75,000 jackets globally each year. That number matters because repair is not a slogan if the bench is empty. Repair is a system, and Barbour still has one. The cost per wear punishes the cheaper choice. A $200 fashion rain jacket that fails in 4 years costs $50 a year before replacement. A $400 waxed jacket that gets rewaxed and repaired over 15 years costs less than $27 a year before service costs, and the garment usually looks more like itself with age. Patina is only useful when the structure underneath is still there. The buying rule is to stay with waxed cotton and avoid confusing the whole brand with the icon. A Barbour wax jacket has a maintenance ritual. That ritual is the point. If you want a jacket that always looks new, buy something else. If you want a jacket that records use and can be brought back, waxed cotton is one of the few old technologies that still beats the new disposable one. Number 4 is Patagonia. Patagonia is not on this list because it has the cleanest image in outdoor clothing. Images are cheap. Patagonia is here because it publishes more of the things other brands bury and because its repair system is real. The company's ironclad guarantee says it guarantees everything it makes, and if a product does not perform to your satisfaction, you can return it for repair, replacement, or refund. Look at the product pages. The men's down sweater lists a recycled nylon ripstop shell made from recycled fishing nets and 800 fill power responsible down standard down certified by Control Union, with the certification number shown on the page. The Better Sweater page lists 100% recycled polyester fleece and a fair trade certified factory. A brand that gives you fiber content, certification, factory standard, and repair path is operating differently from a brand that gives you a logo and the word premium. The point is not that Patagonia is perfect. The point is that it leaves fingerprints. The repair side is the real separator. Patagonia's repair pages tell customers to send damaged gear in or bring it to a store, and the European repair page says the repair service is currently free of charge, with possible shipping charges depending on country. It also gives a normal repair window of 4 to 6 weeks, with wetsuits and waders taking longer. That is not vague virtue language, that is an operating procedure. Cost per wear depends on the item, but the pattern is clear. A technical fleece at $150 that is repaired, depilled, and worn for 8 years costs less than $20 a year. A cheaper fleece that pills, bags out, and gets replaced every other winter costs more, even before you count the wasted time. Patagonia is expensive at the register. The disposable alternative is expensive everywhere else. The trusted Patagonia purchases are the pieces where the specifications are doing the talking. Shells with named fabrics, insulation with stated fill power and certification, fleece with recycled content and a repair path. Be more careful with casual basics where the Patagonia name can carry more of the price than the construction. The discipline is the same every time. Read the spec before you admire the patch. Number 3 is Filson. Filson makes this list because the best pieces are not styled to look durable. They are built from materials that already were durable before the marketing department arrived. The Mackinaw Wool Cruiser uses 24-ounce Mackinaw wool. The product page states it is stitched in the USA, built with 100% virgin wool, wind-resistant, breathable, and able to insulate if wet. That is not a trend description, that is field clothing. The bags tell the same story. Filson's Rugged Twill original briefcase is listed as 100% cotton rugged twill with premium Italian cow leather and brass. The product page names a YKK solid brass zipper, bridle leather handles and strap, and a storm flap. Another Filson description calls the fabric a 2-ply by 3-ply twill with abrasion resistance. Those are the parts that matter: fabric, leather, hardware, stitching. When a brand names the components, it gives you something to inspect. That is how trust starts. Filson's guarantee says every item is guaranteed for the lifetime of the item against failure of materials, workmanship, craftsmanship, and manufacturer defects. It also draws a line around damage outside the warranty, where repairs may be offered for a modest fee. Again, the honesty matters. A lifetime product is not a product that never changes. It is a product with a path after something goes wrong. The cost per wear works best on the pieces that have not been watered down into lifestyle filler. A Filson briefcase at $500 sounds high until it replaces 10 years of cracked bonded leather office bags and nylon commuter bags with peeling coatings. A Mackinaw Cruiser at about $600 is not cheap, but if it gives 15 winters of service, that is $40 a winter before repairs. The department store wool blend that looks similar for 2 seasons is the expensive one. The buying rule is strict because Filson is not immune to the disease. Stick to the products where the old material logic remains obvious: Mackinaw wool, tin cloth, rugged twill, bridle leather, and hardware you can name. Be suspicious when the product becomes a normal shirt with an extraordinary price. Heritage can be useful evidence, but it can also become a tax. Number 2 is Red Wing Heritage. Boots reveal fraud quickly because the ground does not care about branding. Cemented fashion boots can look good in the mirror and fail the moment the sole separates, the heel stack collapses, or the fake leather creases like paper. Red Wing's core heritage boots are built around the opposite idea. The upper is worth keeping, so the sole should be replaceable. The classic mock product page names the construction: mock toe, traction tread outsole, Puritan triple stitching, and Goodyear welt. Another Red Wing page describes the heritage line as made in the USA from premium full-grain leather with Goodyear welt construction and handcrafted details. The welt is the key. A Goodyear welt creates a stitched connection that allows the boot to be resoled instead of thrown away when the outsole wears out. That is the difference between a boot and a costume of a boot. Red Wing publishes repair pricing through its repair page. A resole, including oiling and new laces when applicable, is listed at $165. Heel replacement is listed separately. Stitching repair, eyelet work, gusset replacement, and heel lining work are all priced. That menu tells you what the company believes. The boot has enough remaining value to justify surgery. The arithmetic is brutal. A $200 fashion boot that lasts 2 winters costs $100 a winter and then becomes landfill. A $350 Red Wing boot worn for 6 winters, then resold for $165 and worn for another 6, costs about $43 a winter before conditioning supplies. The better boot costs less because it stays a boot. There is one more test. Pick the boot up and look at the bottom edge. If the sole is just glued on and the upper material is not worth saving, you are buying a temporary shape. If the boot is welted, the leather is full grain, and the company publishes repair work, you are buying time. That is the whole difference. Number 1 is Schott NYC. This is the top pick because leather jackets are where men get robbed most easily. The category is full of corrected grain leather, thin lambskin, plastic coatings, mystery factories, and luxury markups that have nothing to do with the hide. Schott is not cheap, but the important men's leather jackets are made in the USA at the company's Union, New Jersey factory, and the product pages say it plainly. The Perfecto line is the cleanest example. Schott says its men's leather jackets are proudly made in the USA at the Union factory. The leather options include cowhide, steerhide, horsehide, and lambskin, with weight choices from lightweight to heavy. Those choices matter because real leather has trade-offs. Heavy steerhide breaks in slowly and can last decades. Lightweight fashion lambskin feels soft in the store and can look tired fast. One is built for ownership, the other is built for purchase. A good leather jacket should make you patient. If it feels finished on day one, something may have been taken out of it. Schott also wins because the design has not been reinvented every season to chase the customer back to the rack. The Perfecto is not a trend capsule. It is a pattern with history, hardware, weight, and a known factory behind it. When a brand keeps making the same serious garment, parts and repairs remain possible because the object is stable. Fashion hates stability. Owners should love it. The cost per wear is the whole case. A mall leather jacket at $300 that is corrected, thin, and dated in 3 years costs $100 a year and leaves you shopping again. A Schott at $1,000 worn for 20 years costs $50 a year, and that is before resale value, before repairs, and before the fact that a real leather jacket often looks better after the first decade than it did on the hanger. That is the Biffle test. The longer you own it, the smarter the purchase looks. Across all 8 brands, the pattern is the same. Trust is not a feeling, and it is not a logo. Trust is named materials, repairable construction, published guarantees, and products that make financial sense after the first year. Buy the item with a repair path, not the item with the best campaign. A logo is not a material. Know what you are buying.